You're listening to Great Love Media.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
Hi again, everyone. It's Brian Howie. Welcome to The Great Love Debate, the world's #1 dating and relationship podcast since 2015. So a couple of the most popular episodes of this podcast that we have ever done was one that we did a couple years ago called The Dating Commandments. And it was actually a 2-part episode. And that one's sort of been shared tens of thousands of times around the world. Media outlets picked it up. It was really good. Me and the 2-time Emmy Award-winning Keiko did it. And it was fun, but it was a little bit incomplete. So about a year ago, we added to it, and we did something called the Dating Amendments, which was sort of like the Bill of Rights that got added to the Constitution. And that was also really popular. So today we included you guys in this sort of latest chapter along that vein. And about 2 weeks ago, I put out a social media post that asked for what we are going to call the dating resolutions, which is things that you guys are sort of committing to in the year ahead that you wanted to do better, things that you were going to do different, and things that simply you were going to do. So things are like, I am going to make a point to do this. And we have never gotten more of a response to anything we put out than this, which is good because it means you guys are at least thinking about it. But I had so many of these that I need to bring in a pro to help me sort of address and assess them. She's been on this podcast before. She's been on our stage a couple times. She is a influencer to the stars. She's the founder of the Social Vine, the always engaging Stephanie Llewellyn. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Like that intro for you?
You always have the most bizarre intros for me. Makes me sound way more important than I am.
That's the goal.
Well,
it's all
you.
smoke and mirrors.
I appreciate it.
That's what influencing is. Influencing people to believe anything. But so I put these out there. I could not believe the response to these. People had these like ready to go, and we got like a quick response to them. Are you a resolution person? Are you a vision boarder, manifester? Are you a list maker? I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this. Are you one of those people?
Those are a lot of separate questions. I'm not a resolution type of person. I go through phases with the vision board and the manifesting thing. It's
which can mean anything from note on the fridge, don't be a pig, to, I'm going to buy a mansion in 25 years.
Like the magazine cutouts. It's a fine line between like witchcraft and psychosis.
Is there? Witchcraft and psychosis would be a good name for like a coffee shop, I think. I think it would be good.
All right, I'm going to take that one.
Yeah. There was some food product that I saw when I was in Texas, and it was like a local delicacy, but it was Czechoslovakian, and I'm like, is Czech Tex like a cuisine, or do I need to open up a Czech Tex restaurant? I don't know. You're like, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know
what that food
Czech
is.
Tex. I don't either. It was some little sausagey thing, and I'm like, oh, this is a new category. Czech Tex.
Yeah, make anything into sausage.
Yeah. I don't know. So I am somewhere in the sort of, I think I want to do this and I'm going to figure out a way to do it category. So I think like, next year I'm going to do this, or this time. I really am a big believer in like 12 steps, 30 days, 60 ways. Like I like a fine number. I like a line in the sand. I like, I'm going to do this for this long in this way. I like it. Now am I, somebody who makes permanent lifestyle choices? Not necessarily, but I do like to put it out into the world that I think I want to do this. And then, because what I do after that is I figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
So I sort of like, here's the picture of the completed puzzle. Let me figure out how to put the pieces together to make this work. I like to do that. So some of these resolutions are along those lines. Some of these are like, I'm going to just, close the door on a way I've been doing things for a long, long time. And some of these are like, I think I'm close, and if I just do this, that will happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah. People set themselves up for failure. That's all I'm just waiting for.
I know January is a very big month in the in the gym world. It's a very big month in the sort of self-help. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then March comes around and we're nowhere. But great love listeners, we are going to take all of these under advisement because they're really good. So I picked out about a dozen of these things, and I'm going to read them just as you wrote them. And then we're going to talk about to think, what exactly is the problem here, and is this a reasonable goal? Okay. Is that fair? All right. Is that a good exercise?
Yes.
All right. So the first one we got, it says, I'm saying no to all booty calls, especially from anyone who lives in my building. There are so many cute guys in my building, so don't judge. But I'm going to shut my phone off after 11 p.m. whenever I am home. Oh, yeah, I also need to be home more at 11 p.m., but that's a longer story.
What? If you could see my face, I'm so worried about her.
Okay, so what part are you worried about?
Does she send in her age?
No.
You don't know anything? Oh, Lord
I
Jesus.
do not.
I need context. But
why does that matter?
Well,
does it matter if she's 50 versus 20?
In some ways, yes.
Okay.
I was a different person when I was in my 20s, but I'm just so confused by her life choices. There's that
she's
many people.
She's out too much, and when she's home, sounds like there are multiple booty call people in her building. So she should probably move.
It's a brothel, or is this an apartment?
What kind of where is this condo?
Right.
What are the things? What is rent going for there?
There's a price.
Yeah. What is going for? Is this Melrose Place? I feel like there's an episode of Melrose Place. So let me first of all, the booty call thing a lot of times happens out of boredom, neediness, favors. A lot of times, like, just come over and then maybe I'll need you to. There's a lot of layers to the casual, geographically convenient booty call. Okay,
it's different in men. It's different to men than it is to girls, for sure.
Why is that?
Because normally, well, I guess I can speak for myself and the girls that I know. When there would be, it's not really a booty call. I don't know who calls it that anymore, but it's more of like an insecurity. If I'm like in a season of my life where I'm feeling insecure and need attention, or I don't know, then it makes me feel good, and that's why I go.
I think a lot of the times the responded to booty call, the person hopes that it will eventually turn into more than that. If I keep going over there, maybe I'll get lunch.
If I show them my best tricks,
right? Dinner, I will respond. So there's an element of it is more than just a physical thing.
Yeah, hope.
And a lot of times the responder, there's a layer of hopefulness in there that can let you down. So she's saying if I shut my phone off at 11 p.m., I won't respond to those. Then maybe she's lingering more at the mailbox or at the pool or whatever they have in this common areas to try and get the same thing. And she also says, I need to be home more at 11 p.m. That's a longer story. That should be the first goal. The first goal, I think, should be like
reasonable.
Like, draw a line in the sand on your nights out. If you're out past 11 p.m. and you're not working more than 3 nights a week, I think you need to reevaluate a few things.
I think, well, she needs to be realistic. No one's turning off their phone. Never.
Oh, so that's just not happening.
No.
So which of the two parts of her goal is unrealistic? The be home more at 11 or the being home and shutting the phone off? Yeah, if you're home, you need the phone off. She needs the stimuli.
Yes, and if she lives alone, you can't have your phone off. We don't have house phones. So
this is a bad goal?
Well, it's not a bad. I think it's a wonderful goal for her to not sleep with everyone in her building after 11 p.m. or before.
It's a reasonable goal.
Yes, that is reasonable, a healthy choice. I feel like the being home at 11, it could be reasonable depending on who she's hanging out with, what she's doing, what her job is.
Yeah. Dating somebody in your building is not a good choice. Because if you break up, you're going to see what they're doing. It really leads to a lot of.
You have to move.
Stalker. Yeah, you got to move.
You have to.
It's probably worse situation than dating somebody at work and you break up. Yeah, you're going to have to move. So I think she should start with that. I think she should just move to a less cute building.
Oh, you would say that.
I would.
No.
I think that's the way out.
She needs new friends, a new job.
New job
standards.
We don't even know.
She might be young though. She'll learn eventually, and then have
okay. So what is the difference if she's young or if she's 48 and divorced? Why would that matter? Which one is more serious?
I just need context. If she's newly divorced, and she was married for 30 years, and her husband was horrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I would support that completely.
Do the building.
Yeah. I don't, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Have at it.
Live your life, but
You use those common areas.
if she's young, I just...
I encourage you to try and shut your phone off, or start small. Don't just be these blanket things like one less day a week I'm going to do this, or narrow it down to one guy in the building. Is that fair?
I think the first thing she should do is block the numbers of all of these guys. Even if she just does it like after 11, block their numbers after 11. You can keep your phone on, but they can't contact you. And no creeping on them on social media.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, next one is sort of the flip side to that one. Next one. I'm going to say yes more to people who ask me out to activities I don't normally want to do. I always initially at least think no, which leads me to say no. I am determined to change that mindset. And I am as guilty of that as anybody. If somebody comes to me with an idea or a suggestion, or would you like to do this? My default is set on no. I will say no before I think about it. Yeah. It's bad. It's been pointed out to me a lot recently. Like, you think no without even thinking about it. That's probably a defense mechanism, or it's a way to take control of the question. If that went into a dating situation and you were always, hey, you want to go? No. You want to do this? No. How about we? No. That is terrible, right?
It is. But it's that feeling of knowing if I say yes in the moment, when it's like,
then you're committed.
And then the morning of, I'm like, why did I say I would go?
Yeah.
And sometimes you do have fun. So I think that's a good goal to have, to just say yes to more, not everything, but.
Right. But at least try, and I know you can't immediately flip it to yes. I used to bring up in our live shows a lot. And I used to bring up on the podcast quite a bit, this book that was written called The Year of Yes. And this woman sort of committed to, I should have her on the podcast. We should get her on the podcast. I've been talking about it a long time.
Who is that?
And she basically said, I'm going to, as long as I felt safe, I'm going to say yes to everybody who asks me out for 1 year. I think this predates dating apps, so it was a little bit different back then. So anybody, the guy at the fruit stand, the taxi guy, anybody who asked her out, she was going to say yes, even just for a coffee. She didn't make it through a year because she got engaged like 9 months in, and the person she got engaged to fit a lot of the check boxes that she would have immediately eliminated. She would have said no to. Like, I think he was a little bit older. She would have said no. He was divorced, had kids. She would have said no. All these things. But she forced herself to say yes, and that led her to discover so much more about herself than she ever would have about any of those people. I thought it was a good exercise. That's always stuck with me. Same thing, too. If you're going into New Year saying, I'm going to say yes more, and whatever that happens to be, I don't think there's any downside in that.
Well,
for those of us who live on like planet no, it really is terrible. Like, I always say yes to things if they're my idea.
Of course.
Like, should I do that, Brian Howie? Yes, I should.
It's a great idea.
Would I like to see a dessert menu? Yes, I would. But if other people said, how about we paint this wall red? No. And then a week later, I'll be like, we should paint the wall red. And that's got to be incredibly frustrating to the people around me.
That's how a toddler acts.
Yeah. Oh,
it has
really?
to be their idea. A lot of guys are like that, though. You have to make it their, it's not a bad thing.
So now I'm open to things, maybe they weren't my idea, but they were probably fruit from my tree. Like somehow someone in my sphere, I sprinkled my...
You planted the seed and
eventually it was a leaf off of the tree. I will accept that, which again, incredibly frustrating for the people around me. But I think that's just a good mindset. I've said no too much. I'm going to say yes and see how that changes things. I don't see a downside in that. I think that's both ambitious and positive.
Yeah, I agree. As long as she feels safe. I mean,
safety first.
Yeah.
All right. Would you like some heroin? No.
Right.
Stick with the no.
Safe choice. Right.
All right, next one. In 2021, I'm going to be bold and brave. I'm going to make a list of things that terrify me and try to get over my fear for at least one or two of them. Yes?
Yeah.
I said this on the podcast. I don't know if it was this year or last year because I'm not sure if I did. I'm terrified of snakes. Terrified. Like, I don't even want to go to the state of Florida.
Is there a reason? Or is this an irrational fear?
There's no irrational fear. It's very rational that I'm afraid of snakes. I was